Welcome to the Audio Inc. Radio podcast, featuring interviews with the biggest names in rock and metal. Hosted by Anne Erickson.
Get inked. Visit Facebook.com/Audio Inc. Radio, Twitter.com/Audio Inc. Radio, and AudioIncRadio.com for more ink. Whew, that's a lot of ink. It's AudioIncRadio.com.
One of my favorite things about doing this is when I get to interview the same people year after year, and after a while, you kind of feel like you know them. You just feel like a part of their experience, and I totally feel that way with Richie Faulkner of Judas Priest. I first interviewed him back at Louder Than Life Festival, which had to be at least 10 years ago. It's so crazy, but Louder Than Life, when it first started out, it wasn't as big a festival. It was big, but it's not like it is now, and I went for the first few years. My friend Rebecca and I went and interviewed him in person, and it was so cool because we're in the trailer and he was like playing his guitar for us, and it felt like we're getting serenaded. It was so fun, and he was just very gracious and super talented, and I'm just happy to see how successful he is today. And he's still with Judas Priest, which, you know, I love my Judas Priest. They're one of my all-time favorite metal bands, and they still totally just are amazing live. You have to check them out. But they've got a new record, Invincible Shield, which is awesome. Just highly recommend it from front to back. And it's great to have Richie back on the show. We'll talk all about the new record and the future of Judas Priest. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast if you don't yet, which if you don't, not cool. You are in the doghouse with me. Just search Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. wherever you rock out to podcast. Hit subscribe and you'll be instantly notified of the next show featuring the biggest names in rock and metal music. I would love to hear from you. Reach out to me on social media, Twitter or X and Snapchat at Anne Erickson, Instagram and TikTok at Erickson Ann, or just search Anne Erickson on Facebook and find me that way. And hey, be a part of my private Patreon community where you'll kind of get like an exclusive first look at a lot of stuff that I'm doing and just hang out on my private Patreon. So definitely find the link in the show description. It's Ann Autumn on Patreon. All right, let's do it. I am very stoked to welcome Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest.
Hi there, this is Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest, and you're listening to Audio Inc. Radio with Anne Erickson.
Well, Richie, it is so great to talk with you. We were just before I hit record, we are talking about how we go way back, you know, like I think that the first time I interviewed you was, I want to say 10 years ago or something, when you first joined the band.
I think it must be. I think it was probably our first tour of the US on that tour leg of Epitaph. So it was probably 2012, I'd imagine. So yeah, over 10 years ago, and crazy how time flies.
I know, but it's so great. And I'm so happy to see just all the success for you and Judas Priest. And it's awesome. So I love it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And then the new record, I love that too. I've heard in advance, Happy, Invincible Shield. So, you know, you mentioned before that it's kind of a 70s style, a little bit going back to that. How did you guys come about to, you know, want to go that direction with the record? I definitely hear what you mean about like the awesome guitar parts and how it's a little bit more vintage Priest.
Well, yeah, it's definitely, it's a record that is very now. It's Priest now in 24, obviously in 23 when we recorded it, but it's modern Priest, but it has throwbacks to, you know, 70s Priest in terms of twists and turns. You know, it doesn't go verse, bridge, chorus. It's musical part and then solo here and then another musical part or a vocal part. You know, it just kind of switches it up a little bit, like The Sinner or Tyrant and stuff like that. Then there's also, you've got your straightforward rockers as well on there as well, which Priest do really well. So yeah, the album kind of, you start to write stuff and then the album tends to take on its own character based on what you're writing. So I think we recognized that it was going in a bit more of a complex direction and we went with it. You know, that's something that's on Priest's radar, as we said, from back in the day. So we went with it, and it's something that we feel like is a little bit different, but retains that character of classic Priest.
I think that's a great way to describe it because it definitely sounds modern and fits in now, but then you've got a little of that Judas Priest sound that makes it instantly recognizable.
I think so. And for me, it's a bit more adventurous than Firepower was. And I think that's just a natural progression, you know, coming from Firepower to do something it's definitely not like a radio single format, if you know what I mean. It's not 3-minute singles. It's kind of musical journeys here and there. And we just let the creativity flow and see what we came out with. And we felt it was strong and we went in that direction. So it's exciting.
My favorite track off the record is As God Is My Witness. So can you tell me about how that song came about?
Yeah, I remember I had a riff, a couple of riffs that went together on my collection of riffs that I took into the writing session. And it was evident from the get-go that it was going to be a fast one. It was a fast riff. It was a fast kind of mood of the song. And we just built on that, really. And the way it is on the record, it's important, I still think, to the way a dynamic of an album is put together. And when you listen to an album from start to finish, before this, we have Crown of Horns, which is a slow fade out, and it fades out to nothing. And then As God Is My Witness crashes in. And it makes me jump sometimes. If I've got the speakers turned up and I'm listening to Crown of Horns fade out, and then this one jumps in, it's I think a testament really to Priest's diversity over the years. They can go from songs like a mid-paced anthem of Crown of Horns into a full blazing sentiment of God Is My Witness. And it's a really great dynamic on the record, I think.
Absolutely. Now, you guys, obviously, you keep churning out these great records. You mentioned Firepower, and I really liked Redeemer of Souls as well. Do you feel like Judas Priest has many more albums left in you guys?
That's a great question. You never know. I know personally, whenever we kind of put the writing sessions to bed and we've finished the writing and everything, I always feel spent. I'm out of ideas. I've got nothing left. I've given everything to it. Where the hell am I going to get more ideas from if we choose to do another record? But somehow they always, over the next couple of years, you start banking new riffs and melodies and stuff, and somehow you get new ones. So you never know what the future holds. I mean, if the guys want to do it, I'm all for it. And if they choose not to do another record, then I'm all for that. Whatever they want to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm assuming there'll be at least one more. This can't be it. Don't say that.
No, I'm not saying it, I'm definitely not saying never say never, and then you got to think, what are we going to do from here? We can't do a record like this. Which way is it going to go? And again, the album normally dictates where it's going to go, but we don't want to repeat ourselves ever. So what would we do next time? It's all good conversation. And if we ever got to that stage again about doing another record, it'll be an interesting one for sure.
So why is it important to Judas Priest to still make music like this and not just tour? Because you guys tour a lot too, and a lot of classic acts tour, but they don't ever put out new music.
I don't know, really. I mean, I can only speak for myself and what I think it is. I think it's just a genuine love for what we do. We're creators. We play music. They've been doing it for over 50 years. And I don't think you can do something for that long without loving it. You know what I mean? I think it really is who they are, who they've been for half a century. And that's what we do. We make music. We love playing music. We love playing new music and writing music and playing new countries to new fans around the world. And it's just, we love it. So I think that's what keeps us hungry to do the next one or the next country or the next place we haven't done. That's just what it is. That's what drives us all, really.
What other classic metal bands do you feel are still very influential, like Judas Priest?
Oh, I mean, we just played the Power Trip Festival in India. I say just played it. It was in October. It's almost 6 months ago now. But AC/DC were there, Maiden were there, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Tool. They were there. Bands like Saxon, Accept. There's a ton of them. There seems to be a really healthy appetite for classic metal and traditional metal and bands of that ilk. So. There's some other ones. We're actually going out. We're starting the tour in the UK with Uriah Heep and Saxon, and it's a great British metal and hard rock bill. So there just seems to be a real appetite for that kind of metal. And again, I said before, I'm here for it.
And how is your health? Because we're so happy to see you, kind of just back to normal. And it was such a scare at Louder Than Life a few years back. How are you doing? How do you feel? All that good stuff.
I'm doing okay. I think, you never know what's around the corner, as I found out, but I've had a great support system at home and obviously on the medical side of things. And also the fans as well. The fans have been really supportive. They sent me videos and messages of support and everything. So I've had a great support system. I go for regular checkups and I've got to watch a few things, but I'm okay. I'm excited to get the tour underway. and start blazing around the world with the new Priest record. So I think I'm doing all right.
That's awesome. And how does being a dad, how has that influenced your songwriting or just, what you do here as a musician, if it's influenced it at all?
Well, I've put together an album of heavy metal lullabies. No, I'm joking. But obviously, it's a massive thing, to be responsible for a child, and it's a joy and it's a challenge sometimes, as these things are. And we try and make her a part of it. So, for example, on the last tour, we took her out to Europe for some dates, and she gets to experience travel in different countries and cultures. And she loves the music. She loves the tour, the live shows. So we try and make her a part of it. It's all kind of experience for her. So it's involving her the best way we can to kind of, I don't know, just kind of make her life more exciting, and she can learn things. So I think incorporating that in what we do normally and trying to fit, what I do around her life as well. So it's a careful balance, but it's great fun.
You're obviously a huge metalhead. Are there any other genres that you like and listen to that would surprise people?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm a child of the 80s. So I was born in 80. So I was brought up, before I really got into metal, it was music that was on the radio, and it was great pop music, Duran Duran, Ultravox. I mean, there's so many, like Peter Gabriel, whoever it was, So but I think people know that as well. I've said it oftentimes before. That's the music I was brought up on, So I don't know if it's a conscious influence on my writing, but there's got to be something in there. Bryan Adams, I mean, come on. I mean, Prince, Michael Jackson. I mean, there's so many. Tina Turner. All that stuff, is part of my growing up. So I listen to that quite a lot.
That's awesome. And what is next for you aside from Judas Priest? What other stuff do you have going?
Well, that's going to kind of take over our lives for the foreseeable, for the rest of the year, maybe into next year. We're going to tour, obviously, now in Europe. We go over to the States, back to Europe in the summer, and then we're looking at more dates as we go along. We always do Asia and South America and places like that. So hopefully we'll get there. And then after that, who knows? There's a second record from my other band, Elegant Weapons, that we're working on. That when Priest wind down this tour, maybe we'll look at an opportunity to release that. So there's always stuff going on. So yeah, watch this space. Hopefully, the tour goes well and we push into other territories. And then after that, maybe the Elegant Weapons record.
That's awesome. I love the fact that Judas Priest, you guys tour so much. You're like the hardest working band in metal. You're always out there.
We love it. That's what I said before. We love it, and we've just taken a year off to finish the album and get that done. So now we're all pumped up to get on the road again and do the tour cycle, because we love it. We love being on the road. We love each other as a band. We have lots of fun. We joke around a lot, and obviously we love playing music to the fans that put the band there for 50 years. So we can't wait.
And I have to ask, how is Glenn Tipton doing?
Glenn's doing okay. He, I think, as we all know, the nature of the challenges he's going through with Parkinson's. Sometimes he has good days, sometimes he has bad days. But it's always great to see him if he can come out and play with us. And hopefully he comes out and joins us on stage for a few songs in the future. And obviously, if he can, he will. And if he's not feeling up to it, then I think everyone's going to know why. So when he comes out, he raises the roof, and we hope to see him, if he wants to and if he can, hopefully in the future.
Awesome. Well, Richie, it's always so great talking. Thank you so much for your time, and I cannot wait for everyone to hear this awesome record.
Thank you, Anne. It's a pleasure. I'll talk to you soon.
Always great to talk with Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest. Thanks for being an awesome guest, and definitely welcome back anytime. He's been on this show, I don't know, maybe 4 times. I can't keep it straight, but awesome guy. Such a warm personality, and I am beyond happy for all of his success. And I'm happy to be right here with you on the show. Thanks for hanging out with me on the podcast. You rock. If you don't subscribe yet, it's naughty. Don't be naughty. Just search Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. wherever you rock out to podcast. Hit subscribe and you'll be instantly notified of the next show featuring the biggest names in rock and metal music. Check out my band Upon Wings at uponwings.com. Hopefully you dig us. And I was inspired to start music really by listening to bands like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and seeing them live in concert. Don't forget to link up with me on social media. Find all my links. It's really easy. Just go to my website, itsmeanne.com. That's itsmeanne.com. itsmeanne.com to link up on social media. As always, you're amazing. Thanks for rocking out with me on this show. And yeah, I just love hanging out with you, talking music, and being your friend. Until next time, be safe, God bless, and we'll rock soon. It's Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. Radio.
It's Audio Inc. with Anne.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Audio Inc. Radio podcast. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. Get inked online at audioinkradio.com. I'm Anne Erickson for the Audio Inc. Radio podcast.